Actually, I think the life of the Buddha is something I like to read about it. I like to reflect on that because it is truly inspiring in the way that it came about. I say that one thing we need in the practice of Dhamma is inspiration. That is to say, people get tired, they have worries and troubles, and just reading a book doesn't usually help very much, and they're kind of goofing along and they realize inspiration. We all need some inspiration, some enthusiasm. Where do we get that? Where do we get that? Well, various ways. We've all had it from time to time. In Buddhism, I think, first of all, it's the recollection of the life of the Buddha. It's a wonderful story, if you've heard it, but before I feel sure, but it's a wonderful story and an inspiring story and shows us what can be done by a human being. Now, this was an exceptional human being, but the Buddha had followers who began, just as we are, not knowing which is the right direction. But he showed them the right way, and we see them in the stories in the Buddhist canon of how they listened, paid attention, applied what the Buddha said, and did discover and became enlightened themselves. So it's possible to make an effort. And that's the second thing I wanted to talk about is right effort. Well, it's an important, vital thing. We have to do something. Once we get inspired, we have to do something about it. But it's so hard, isn't it? Actually, I think the life of the Buddha is something I like to read about it. I like to reflect on that because it is truly inspiring in the way that it came about. Now, in Buddhist culture, we have the opportunity to visit temples, which is a good thing to do, not just your home temple, but it's good to visit other temples, hear various different monks speak, and I like to look at the murals, the paintings they will sometimes have, which are usually the life of the Buddha. And in the old days, of course, this is how a lot of people learned and became aware of the teaching of the Buddha, was from the artwork on the temples. And then the monks would tell as well. So I think it's good to visit. This is refreshing from time to time, to go to a new place you haven't seen before. And then once you're there, ask questions. Venerable Sir, what about this or that? And this is exactly what people did in the time of the Buddha. They didn't just fall down and worship him, but they would say, Venerable Sir, how is it that such and such and such and such? And then when the Buddha had told them, they thought, whoa, this is good, this is good. So ask questions, look around, and this is the beginning of right effort. This is where you get the energy to do the work of right effort. And especially lately, I've been thinking about inspiration that can come not just from Buddhist sources, but from paying attention to the world around us. Especially now, we've had some rain, and I don't know if you've noticed, but things are growing around the temple a lot. And if you go out, especially out on this area of fill out here, where there's nothing but weeds, there are some wonderful weeds out there that I enjoy very much. Now, I'm not saying that the beauty of nature alone is going to do much for us, but it will arouse some questions in our minds. Because if you go out and you see all the flowers and plants blooming, you think, oh, very nice, but then you realize, yeah, but why are they doing this? Where is it going? Well, I'll tell you where it's going. It's going in a circle. That's all. It's not going anywhere, really. For example, out there you find vast array of thistles. Not that thistles are the most delightful plant in the world, but they're growing enthusiastically. And what's their first order of business? Make more thistles. make more thistles. And so these are the plants that release these light puffy seeds that you've seen floating around the last few weeks. Zillions and zillions of them. And what is the purpose of all these seeds? To make more thistles. And if you think about it, everything you look at, the flowers, the plants there, they're not going anywhere. Their purpose is to repeat. So logically speaking, it's crazy. It's not going anywhere. And then you think, well, how about other living animals? What are they doing? They're reproducing, getting old, dying. And what are human beings doing? Exactly the same thing. Except that human beings have the faculty for thinking about the world, for drawing conclusions, for examining purposes and reasons for things. But always, again and again, we come up against the futility of human life. We work hard, we raise some children, we have lots of illnesses and troubles and family quarrels, we get old, we get sick, and we die. And so we hope we will be born in happier circumstances. And the Buddha assures us this is possible. And we think, yes, but if it's going to be the same thing again, why? Yeah. Now, nature also, if we look at it, gives us tranquility even without understanding. It's a nice place to start. So when you're out and you're thinking about the plants and the animals and noticing and the sounds, the nice smells, and this is calming and soothing in a way, and you think, oh, I wish this could last. I wish it could last. This nice feeling I have out here strolling, in good weather. And then you think, it can't last. Well, what does last? And we have to realize that, the world as it is not sufficient. It's not sufficient. And, of course, we will live happier lives if we listen to the Buddha and we have good sila. This is the foundation of all good effort, is having sila. And if we keep the 5 precepts strictly, we will be in much better shape throughout this life. But there still will be old age, sickness, and death coming. And this is, why we cannot be content, with life, even a well-lived life, but something more. Why does a religion arise at all except that people want something more? And so the Buddha points towards something more. And so if you're out there in the nice pleasant weather and you're feeling tranquil and you're noticing the sounds and you think, well, things are pretty good, and you have a nice sense of balance and peace, then we should try to, I think, make that last and think, well, I really should make an effort. I really should make an effort. It's one thing to be entertained, let us say, and it's another thing to do something for yourself. Like if we just wait around until the weather is very nice and the flowers are blooming and we don't have any disasters on our minds, that doesn't happen too often. We've always got something on our minds, something's going on. So we realize, I hope, that we really have to make an effort. Even if we're born in good circumstances and the weather's nice and everything, it's going to change. It's going to change. And are we prepared for that? Therefore, we should make an effort and seek for more inspiration. As I say, visit temples, to read Dhamma, to reflect on the life of the Buddha, to practice meditation. And by the way, I was thinking, years ago in the temple I lived in, I can't remember where it came from, but a magazine would arrive. It was a catalog, and I forget the title, I forget who put it out, but it advertised meditation supplies. And this always amused me. You could find in there things like cushions and pads to sit on, backrests, alarm clocks, incense burners, and all kinds of stuff, meditation supplies. Now, in the time of the Buddha, those old monks, they didn't have any meditation supplies. They had a cloth to sit on, boom, on the hard ground. That was it. And now today people have got all kinds of things, and armrest. And I take that back. I haven't seen any armrest, but you know what I mean. All kinds of stuff. Okay, it's all right. Nothing wrong with it, but that's not to the point. The point is not just to get comfortable, but to do some work. The 4 kinds of right effort recite a lot is first the effort to prevent unwholesome states from arising. This is something I never thought about till I became a Buddhist as an adult. I would just discover that I was furious or upset about something. I didn't think about getting there. But if you think about that, this is a very useful thing. That is to say, when you notice the first twinge of irritation, notice it. Try not to allow unwholesome state to arise. It's much easier to deal with when it's small, when you've got some annoyance or something like that, to notice, watch out, watch out. The mind is a wild beast, it must be tamed. And then there is the effort to get rid of unwholesome states that have arisen. That if you're already furious, or you're already upset, or already overcome with some desire, then it's time to make an effort to get rid of it. Not just to wait till it goes away on its own. Yeah, it'll eventually fade, but in Buddhism we try and take charge, not be passive all the time, not wait for someone to relieve us of our troubles, but to make the effort to get rid of it, put it away. And as for wholesome states, we make an effort to arouse wholesome states. That didn't occur to me either. I would just get happy when, circumstances were happy. But you can do a lot with your own effort. That's what the Buddha teaches us. You can arouse wholesome states. You turn your mind from an unwholesome theme to a wholesome theme. You think about something inspiring, the life of the Buddha, some pleasant event in your memory, and then you make an effort to get rid of, or to arouse the wholesome state. And then, furthermore, something else I never thought about is the effort to maintain the good that has arisen. That is not just to say, oh, that's nice, and let it just fade away, as it will, of course, but to try and keep up a feeling of kindness and generosity and goodwill. Try and make it last a little longer by your own effort. And if you do these things, you'll be that much better off and that much more able to do the harder work of meditation and purifying the mind. The world offers us many kinds of signs. The things we see in nature are one. The others are, for example, the 3 divine messengers that I was talking about a couple of weeks ago. The Buddha's story about the man who lives a bad life, ends up in hell, and gets questioned by the guardian, the ruler of hell, if he didn't see the divine messenger, why he misbehaved. Didn't he see the divine messengers warning him? Didn't he see these in the world? No, he didn't see them. He didn't see the... And King Yama says to the man, did you never see an old man, very old, weak, sick, come to the last stage? Why, yes, I saw that, he says. And did it never occur to you that you have this way, nature yourself? And didn't you think, let me now do good deeds by body, by speech, and by mind? Oh, he couldn't do that. And likewise, he didn't see, he claims, a sick person. Someone sick, miserable, ill, can't walk, picked up by some, laid down by others. And did the thought never come to you that you too, are going to undergo this? It's the 2nd divine messenger. I won't tell the whole story, but the 3rd divine messenger is a dead person. Did you never in your life see, a dead body laid out, or 1 or 2 or 3 days after death, discolored, changing, repulsive? And again, Did you never think? You too have this nature. So these are the sort of things that are disagreeable, but they are inspiring nonetheless. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but we can be inspired by beauty and pleasure in life and the beauties of nature. We can be inspired. We can also be inspired by what is shocking and what is frightening, to remind us, listen, pleasure is just temporary. There is certainly going to be pain and suffering in this life. Do you want more of it, or would you like to get rid of it? And so you think, whoa, maybe I better do some meditation now. When death comes, what are we going to say when death knocks on the door? Oh, wait a minute, excuse me, I'm going to go back and sit on my meditation cushion real fast. Too late, time to go. So, anyway, not to make light of a serious thing, but this is our human situation. And the Buddha, to his great credit, does not give us empty promises or assurances. He does not say, don't worry, everyone, everything's going to be all right. This is what we tell children, right? We tell children until they get a little older, and then we gradually introduce them to the idea that, yes, some things don't work out in life, and there is trouble and everything. But we're adults, so the Buddha, he tells us, listen, you're getting old, your pleasures are going away. You ought to try and purify your mind. For this, we should get some inspiration and do the work that's possible to do. As I said, the life of the Buddha is interesting and inspiring, and some of the lives of his great disciples is also interesting. And reading the old books, reading the Pali Canon, the Tripitaka, we find stories and people who have thought exactly what we thought. Or they ask the same questions that we would ask, and you say, yes, and what does the Buddha say about that? And it's very surprising. It shouldn't be, but it is, that the Buddha's advice, just comes, boom, right to our present day. It's not something ancient. It's akaliko, and that's how I understand the term. It's timeless. When you listen to what the Buddha has to say, his understanding of life it's good now as well. There is a phrase, I forget the Pali, but it says the Buddha is mindful of the welfare of future generations. So when he's giving a talk, he's speaking directly to a particular person in a particular situation, but he doesn't forget future generations. And that's why whatever he says is always for the welfare of many, for the happiness of many, for the welfare, profit, and benefit of human beings and deities. This is what a Tathagata does. He teaches out of compassion whether or not anyone appreciates it. And he says at one point that if people approve of what he tells them, he's not disturbed. He's not disturbed at all. And if people disapprove and they're not polite, the Buddhist does not care at all, either one way or another. His purpose is to relieve suffering. So this is what he does. But as we know, the Buddha does not rule the universe. He explains it. He is a teacher of deities and men, and teaches us what has to be done. What has to be done. So as I often say, and will say again, the Dhamma is a teaching for adults, for people who want to look at life as it is, and who are willing to start them on a journey themselves. And a journey is one thing that can't be done by somebody else. You can't hire someone to go on a journey for you. You say, oh, here's so much money. Go travel around the world, come back and tell me what you saw. But we have to go ourselves, don't we? Sometimes we have to get our own experience. We can't hire anyone to insulate us from the sorrows of life ultimately. Now, if we keep the precepts, we will be much, much safer in life, and we'll be prepared. But as often, in the Buddhist teaching, when he teaches somebody something and the discourse is almost finished, and then he says, and then when you've done that, you should go on to do this, and this. So he doesn't say, okay, that's enough, but keep going till your mind is free. So anyway, I think I haven't solved this mystery for myself that why nature in particular should be calming and tranquil, but it is. It is. To be out in the fields and the woods, everybody, even grouchy people, tend to relax a little bit and they're strolling along. Well, carry that spirit along with you and then think, okay, this is beautiful, but it would be nice if this beauty could last. Well, it can, but we have to make an effort. So I think I've said enough, and when I think I've said enough, that's the time to stop. So I'm stopping right now. Thank you.
แล้วแต่ว่าผู้ใดมีข้อข้องใจหลังจาก1 โมงขึ้นมาปฏิบัติขึ้นมาฟังสนทนากับอาจารย์โตอีกอยากฟังเวลาผู้ใดบ่มีเวลามีโอกาสขึ้นมาสนทนาตื่นเกิดความเข้าใจทุกคนมีเท่านั้นแหละมื้อนี้ก็ได้จบลงแล้วขอให้ขอบคุณญาติโยมถวายอาหาร
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพวกข้าพระเจ้าทั้งหลายขอน้อมถวายภัตตาหารและของบริวารเหล่านี้แด่พระภิกขุสงฆ์ขอพระภิกขุสงฆ์โปรดรับภัตตาหารและบริวารเหล่านี้เพื่อให้เป็นเหตุและปัจจัยเพื่อประโยชน์เพื่อความสุขเพื่อความเจริญเพื่อให้แจ้งซึ่งนิพพานแก่ข้าพเจ้าทั้งหลายในอนาคตการอันไกลนี้ด้วยเถิด
สาธุอายุโตบาลโตดิโรวันนาโตปฏิบาณโตสุขัสสะตาตาเมตาวิสุขังโสอธิกัจจติอายุตัตวาบาลังวันนังสุขัญจปฏิบาณโตติกายุยัสสวะโหติยัตยาตุปปัญจติกาเลตตันติสัพพัญญาวตัญญูวิตาวัจจรากาเลนะดินังกริเยสุอุจุปุเตสุตาดิสุวิปัสสามนาตัสสะวิปุลาโหติตาคินาเยตัตตานุโมทันติเวยาวัจจังคารนติวานาเตนะดาคินาโอนาเตปิปุญญาสบากิโนตัสมาตาเตอปฏิวันนจิตโตยัตตาดินังมหาปลังปุญญานิปารโลกัสมินปฏิตาโหนติปานินันติ